I found out my cabin was for sale from a complete stranger. A woman in a minivan pulled up my drive, rolled down her window and cheerfully asked, "Is the lake access part of the listing or just the cabin itself?" I stared at her like she'd asked if I sold moon rocks on the side. "I'm sorry," I said. She pulled out her phone and showed me a Zillow listing. My cabin, my deck, my fire pit, my family's crest burned into the railing. Except now it was described as pending HOA transfer price for immediate resale. Listed by Karen V Properties LLC. I could feel my pulse in my jaw. Karen Vance was the HOA president of our mountain community. She was also a narcissist in capri pants and a sun hat the size of Montana. She'd spent the last 6 months trying to reorganize properties that weren't in the HOA, including mine. I declined her offer to join, politely at first. Then, after she fined me for the color of my front door, on a property she had no jurisdiction over, I got the sheriff involved. I thought that was the end of it. But this was war. I told the woman in the minivan that the cabin wasn't for sale. She apologized, confused, said Karen told her it was a foreclosure situation, and that she was the acting conservator of transfer. Acting conservator? My cabin was paid off in full. Had been for 12 years. No liens. No debt. No reason for it to appear on any market. Which meant only one thing. Karen faked a listing. Possibly even forged paperwork. I told the woman to screenshot everything. Then I thanked her. Then I got to work. First thing I did was call my real estate attorney, Tasha. She's brilliant, sharp-tongued, and doesn't scare easy. The moment she pulled the fake listing off the MLS system, she blew a gasket. "She filed this through a shadow brokerage," Tasha said. "One I've seen before. It's run through shell entities, most of them tied back to HOA affiliates." That night I couldn't sleep. My grandfather built this cabin with his bare hands in 1964 after returning from Korea. It was where I learned to fish, where my parents brought me after the divorce, where my dog Scout's ashes were scattered beneath the birch trees. The idea that Karen had plastered it across the internet like some cheap timeshare turned my stomach. But she wasn't ready for what came next. Because I had a plan. Not just to stop her, but to end her reign for good. The next morning, I went down to the county clerk's office and requested all public real estate transactions tied to Karen Vance. Took me 2 hours and a stale vending machine sandwich, but what I found made me laugh out loud. Karen had recently taken out a HELO equity line of credit in her own home to finance a new HOA community wellness garden. Except, the parcel where she was building that garden didn't legally belong to the HOA, it belonged to the city. And she'd already broken ground. I called a friend Marcuswo works in zoning enforcement. He said, "Oh, that's gonna be fun." While he started pulling violation codes, I made an anonymous offer to purchase Karen's house. Through an LLC I controlled. Cash. Full ask. No contingencies. Within 48 hours Karen accepted. She didn't know I was the buyer. She thought it was a developer couple from Denver looking to flip it. When the deed transfer went through, I held the papers in my hand, heart pounding. Then I posted a public sign on her old white picket fence. "Coming soon, Scouts Dog Sanctuary. Free entry for good boys." The first person to see it was her. She showed up in my driveway with fury in her eyes and a printed email in hand. "You manipulated a sale," she screeched. "No," I said, stepping onto my porch. "You listed my cabin. I bought your house. Fair market value. You agreed. You tricked me. You forged a property listing." She opened her mouth but no words came out. Then the twist hit like thunder. Tasha stepped out from behind me. "Karen Vance, you're being served," she said, handing over a legal packet. "Civil complaint. Fraudulent listing, attempted real estate theft, and defamation." Karen's hand trembled as she took it. "But," I added with a smile, "you're welcome to visit the dog park. We named the poop station after you." Her scream echoed through the trees like a dying lawn mower. Karen didn't show up to court. Not the first hearing. Not the second. Her lawyer, a sweaty, trembling man who looked like he hadn't slept in a week, tried to argue it was all a misunderstanding. A clerical mishap by her assistant. But the judge, a stoic woman named Justice Hildebrandt, wasn't having it. She leafed through the printed screenshots, the title fraud reports, the zoning violations. Her gavel came down like a lightning strike. This was not a mistake, she said. This was a coordinated abuse of authority, carried out by someone who believed she could manipulate both private citizens and public records without consequence. I'm ordering a full investigation into the HOA's dealings under Ms. Vance's presidency. Karen wasn't just facing a lawsuit anymore. She was under review for federal mail fraud. Turns out, she'd sent certified letters tied to the fake sale to multiple out-of-state buyers. And once Emmett Ruiz got hold of that little detail, his podcast dropped an emergency episode that shot up the charts in less than 24 hours. Title: The Woman Who Tried to Sell a Man's Cabin and Lost Her Home Instead. The episode featured my recorded phone calls with the zoning office, copies of Karen's fabricated HOA development plan, and even a voicemail she left someone named Brenda where she bragged, "He'll never know it was me. By the time he finds out, I'll have his whole lakefront cleared." The fallout was swift and brutal. Karen's remaining supporters, most of them retirees who trusted her vision, turned on her overnight. Several filed their own civil complaints, citing manipulated dues, stolen garden funds, and hostile leadership tactics. The HOA board voted to disband within a week. But the sweetest part? Scout's Dog Sanctuary opened exactly 30 days after I took possession of her old house. We cleared out her faux Mediterranean hedges, tore down the surveillance cameras she'd used to spy on neighbors, and built a shaded agility course. The old koi pond became a splash pool. The shed where she stored unauthorized violation notices? We turned it into a treat shack called the Bone Zone. Local volunteers poured in groomers, dog walkers, even a retired vet tech named Alondra who now offers free weekend health checks. Kids came to paint murals on the fence. Former HOA victims brought their rescued mutts for the opening day Bark BQ, where we handed out free bandanas that read, "Pee freely, this isn't Karen's yard anymore." The story didn't just stay local. It made the regional news, then national. A segment on Good Morning America called it, "The greatest case of poetic real estate justice ever aired." One day, as I refilled the water bowls near the front gate, an older couple walked up with 2 leashes and kind smiles. They said they were from 3 counties over, heard about the park, and just had to see it in person. I asked them what brought them all that way. "Simple," the man said. "We wanted to stand where someone finally told a Karen known meant it." I smiled, looked around at the dogs wagging through sunbeams, and felt something deep settle in my chest. Not revenge. Not triumph. Peace. I didn't make her homeless. She sold her home to me willingly. I didn't ruin her name. She did that herself. All I did was stand my ground and plant something better where her ego used to live. Some people pass down wealth. Others pass down bitterness. I chose to pass down belonging. The cabin? Still mine. Untouched. Protected. And now, thanks to the legal win, listed as a heritage site through the state's private lands preservation program, Karen will never be able to touch it again. Not even whisper about it on paper. And her old address? Well, it's not a house anymore. It's a second chance for dogs who never had one. For people who just need a little sunlight and a leash in hand. So tell me, was I wrong to hit back so hard? Or was this the only way to show Karen that community isn't something you control with a clipboard, but something you build with heart? Let me know what you think. Because sometimes justice comes with pause.